You're listening to Xsgaming Podcast, a podcast for gamers by gamers, with your hosts Xander, Skullion, and James Gruesome, bringing you something old, something new, and a little bit of nostalgia too.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Xsgaming Podcast. This is episode 116. I'm your host, Xander Skullion, and joined with me is my wonderful co-host, Mr. James Gruesome. What's up, James?
Is it spring? Is it winter? I can't even tell anymore. I hope everybody's okay that's been dealing with all the crazy just storms that came out of nowhere. And then on a brighter note, as of the 21st of February, it has been 18 years since I started going out with my now wife. Since she's stuck with me that long, I must be doing something right and not be too much of a schlub. I hope you all are doing well this morning, evening, or afternoon.
Hell yeah, congratulations. And yeah, the weather's been insane. Like, I had a really bad cold about 2 weeks ago. I'm just now starting to get over it. And then I step outside and I start seeing all this yellow stuff everywhere. And I'm like, great, here comes the pollen. So I was feeling well, and now I'm going to start getting seasonal allergies. Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of yellow porch steps and stuff on cars. Like maybe it'll get really cold again. It'll freeze all the pollen. I don't know if that works like it does with vegetables and stuff. So probably not.
But yeah, I mean, we got a couple of things of gaming to talk about. Let's talk about some of the gaming news first. A game that we've been really anticipating for 2018, Yakuza 6, had a little bit of problems with Sega. They released a demo, the Yakuza 6, but the strange thing was the demo was like 35 gigs big. I mean, it was a big size demo, and one of my friends down Phoenix, Justin, he was like, wouldn't this be weird if somehow Sega messed up and like gave people the full game? Well, lo and behold, there were some people that were able to manipulate the demo and it turned into the full game, so much so that even Sega was like, whoa, we got to do something about this. They took it off the market, and then it came back a little bit later on, but some people actually got some free copies of Yakuza 6 now. Isn't that insane?
Now, I guess that would be the full, like the US version that was unlocked through that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, demos are big, and I heard some people talk about that, like is the games in the demos lots of times, and usually it seems when I've gotten demos in the past, like they do take up like a huge amount of space, and then if you get the game, it's not really that, that long to download it after the demo. So I'm sure you got to wonder if it's happened before, but I'm sure people have tried, or either this was the first one that was easy enough to catch. I hate it to happen for a game like Yakuza. Maybe not many people really got it. I don't really think they'll lose many sales over that. It does just make, Sega look kind of, it kind of make people laugh at them a little bit having something like that happen. But seems like they took it down ahead of time. I didn't know the demo had come up. I hadn't really turned on my PlayStation a whole lot lately, and I'm kind of debating on if I would actually play the demo, whereas I like to go usually just into the games. I do know you can carry over your saves and anything you do in it. I've heard that, which makes sense. It's apparently the whole game was inside of that, so I can see how that works. So I'm just sure that's a notice for them and many other companies, just that, hackers and everybody are getting way more slick nowadays, and they're going to figure your shit out. So, gotta get it all down pat.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the first time Sega's done something like this. I mean, I remember a couple months ago, Sega made a update ROM for Daytona USA, like a new version of Daytona for arcades, and they were like, we got the update for free on our website, you can download it. And what happened was, it was just supposed to be an update, but people figured out how to download like the full game without having to do an update. And now that the hacking community is manipulating that ROM into an arcade ROM, so people can play that like on their Pis or whatever emulation machines that you have, your PC and stuff. It's going to be a long process. It probably won't be like finished until like a year from now. But yeah, Sega, damn it. But I mean, when it comes to the Yakuza 6, I had to say, like, I knew the demo came out, but I didn't really want to play it. Like, I know what you do will carry over, but I don't know. I pre-ordered the special collector's edition. And I just want to get that edition and then play it. I don't want to go into the demo and get a little taste of it and wait a couple of weeks and then play the full game, because the game already got pushed back. It was supposed to come out this month in March, and it got pushed back to April. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, they might have had some demos up in the past before for past Yakuzas, maybe on PlayStation 3. I don't think I ever, played one before. I just rather go in because I know when I sit down and play it for the first time, I'm going to want to sit down and play it all day. Like hopefully I'll be off, get after work, at least get in a bunch of hours. I don't know how much time's on the demo, but I'm glad it's there. So people maybe that want to check out the series, I know none of the other ones had demos so far. So this will give a lot of people a chance to, give it a try without having to pay, see if they think they might like it. And then, after they play it and they see how awesome it is, they just got a whole bunch of games they can go out and play now. So it's kind of bad they had the little goof up, but Yeah,
I mean, I was looking at my Facebook memories, timestamp around this time last year. And around this time last year is when I was playing Yakuza 6. And, I mean, that was when I actually started playing the series. I mean, you had talked about the series to me since we started the podcast, and I was always like, I'll eventually get to it. But I finally got to it with 0, and that's where, 2017, I ended up playing 3 different Yakuzas. I played 0, then I played 3, and then I went back and played Kiwami. And I started 4. I haven't finished it. I want to finish 4, and I'd like to get to play 5, but chances are I'm just going to go straight into 6, because you can always look up Cliff Notes to see what's going on and kind of catch up with the story, because no matter how much you know about the game, you still want to play it, so.
And every game will have that, you can go and look at the cutscenes if you want to catch up on the story. I'm hoping 5, we'll get some type of port over to the PS4, because a lot of people did want to play it, but so many had already, traded in their old system to get a new one. And, I saw, a lot of people were just kind of disappointed they didn't get a chance to, because it came on very late in the PS3's life. It was one of the last, for me, was the last great must-have game on the PS3. But also with this news, even though some of it is a little bit bad, it also does bring more, just more light to it, and the name is out there more, so maybe that could get them a few more people just to check it out. It's a great time to get into the series because there's so many, 0, 1, you got the new one. It's just so many ways to get in it from the beginning now. So it's the year of Yakuza.
Well, I mean, it's great to see that so many new fans are getting into it, because I remember, after last year, so many more people were playing it and so many people were getting into it. And now we got, Yakuza 6 coming out next month. Then we have, Kiwami 2 that's going to come out soon. That's probably going to be sometime late 2018 that's going to be coming out. So, I mean, and the funny thing is Yakuza 5 at one point was a free PlayStation Plus game, and I totally missed out on that too. Because, I mean, it's still digital only, and it's still a $30 game. And, I mean, I don't mind digital. I'm not a strictly physical kind of gamer, and I'm not a strictly digital kind of gamer. But at the same time, it's I have my limits with digital gaming, and sometimes I'm just $30. I don't know if I want to spend that much,
Just because if it was in the store, it would probably be $10.
Yeah, it'd be it'd be like a $12.99 game. It'd be like one of those games I take part in with GameStop's buy two get one. It'd be I'd buy some PS4 game and maybe another one, and then get Yakuza 5 for free. It would be something I would do with that. So yeah, I mean, hopefully with the continuing popularity of the series, we'll get at least a port of 5 onto the PS4, even if it's digital or physical. Either way, I'd like to get it on the PS4, to be honest.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if they did it with a bonus. Even I saw how that new game, the Detroit, the guys that made Heavy Rain, I can't think of the whole name of the new game, but if you pre-order it and you get it digitally, you get a free copy of Heavy Rain to download too on the PS4. So that would just be cool to see more companies do that with some other older titles, especially ones that were only on PS3 and aren't on PS4, because like I said, a lot of people don't keep their older systems,
Yeah.
And just more access to a lot of those games is just always a cool thing.
And speaking of Sega as well, Sega's actually been in talks with Microsoft. Now, there hasn't been too much that's really been released about this. I mean, all it really was a vague tweet of Sega posting where they were at the Microsoft headquarters, and they're like, oh, look who we're visiting, sort of thing. And, of course, there's been rumors that Vanquish 2 is going to be an Xbox One exclusive, which, if that's the case, that would be freaking awesome. And what do you think about this? I mean, some people are thinking that, Sega's going to be doing some partnerships with Microsoft, making exclusive Sega IPs for Microsoft. I think that'd be awesome. Some people have even went as far as to be like, oh, maybe Microsoft's about to buy Sega, but I don't think that's going to be a thing. I really don't.
No, I was kind of thinking maybe it had to do with the Game Pass, for getting some of the games on there. Some exclusive ones, like you said, would always be good. And I would even love to see, as far as with the Game Pass, if maybe Microsoft could get access to the Yakuza games.
Yeah.
Now, some of them maybe I could see being blocked off, maybe for a time limit, how Sony kind of helped get 5 out. But, we've seen 1 and 2 on the Wii U. In Japan only, but the more people that can play it is always great, and a lot of people have just specific consoles. I think you do see more people with all 3 or a couple of them, but some still just have that one. And if they could get some games that were only on other systems, maybe run those through the Game Pass. That's just awesome. Like I said, it's just more access to games, and that's what I tend to think maybe it was more about. But it's still exciting to see, and it's just still something to look forward to, Yeah,
because Microsoft and Sega's always had a very interesting relationship. I mean, when the OG Xbox came out, the original, it was pretty much, in my opinion, it was a Dreamcast too. Because I mean, we had sequels to like Jet Set Radio, we had sequels to like Panzer Dragoon. Project Gotham Racing, so many Sega games like Gun Valkyrie.
Shenmue.
Yeah,
Shenmue, we can't forget that.
Yeah, we had Shenmue on Xbox. So, I mean, I was thinking like maybe they would do something with Game Pass. Also, what I was thinking as well, and this is just out there, was, Sega made that Sega Forever app that was on phones that was supposed to like have like, a bunch of Sega games. It ended up, I haven't checked it in a while. When I downloaded it first, it had 5 or 6 games, including Crazy Taxi from the Dreamcast. And I was thinking, like, wouldn't that be kind of cool if they put Sega Forever, that app, onto the Windows Store, and you could play it on your Xbox One? Like, that'd be cool too.
That would definitely be amazing, especially with all the games they were said to be able to have and want to put on that. Especially if Microsoft could, I'd like to see that on everything, if they put a version of that even on the other systems. But once again, I'm not opposed to exclusives. So something like that, would give a person like me more thought about getting one. And I've actually thought about it a little bit more recently. I was kind of joking about it with some friends on Facebook, just about how I was going to get one just because I could. And
yeah,
I like I said, I have friends that have them that enjoy them. For me, it's more of a time thing now. It's like I'm kind of struggling just to play what I got, so I really don't want more on my plate than I can handle. But for the people that have an Xbox, I'd love to see exclusive stuff, for those people. And like I said, it just gives me more reason to want to get one. They need to have competition, and they need those exclusives to all thrive and survive.
I was about to say, if you get an Xbox One, then we can actually have some Xbox talk, so everyone doesn't think we're like Sony and Nintendo fanboys on the podcast.
Yeah.
But no, like we love Microsoft, and eventually I'd like to get an Xbox One. I mean, they're dirt cheap. I mean, if you want to get a core, like just OG Xbox One, they're dirt cheap now. And I mean, there are some games on Xbox One that I eventually would love to play, like I was going to say Jet Set Radio, Sunset Overdrive. Which gives me that Jet Set Radio kind of feel. Also, like Ori, which is like an amazing looking like Metroidvania. And I mean, of course, you got Killer Instinct. I have not played the new Killer Instinct. I'd love to try it out. So I mean, if Microsoft does a little bit more of the Sega love, I'm not going to lie, that's going to make me be like, okay, I kind of need to have to get a Microsoft console now. I'm going to have to get an Xbox. You know?
It's just going to be good to see where it goes. Like I said, that we need more of that nowadays. It's good to see.
A lot of people hate exclusives, but I'll tell you, man, exclusives really help the industry because it makes people decide what product to get. I mean, if every product had Super Mario Brothers, then what would be the point of buying a Nintendo console at that point? And in a perfect world, I think some people would like it just because of the affordability, but this isn't a perfect world. So, speaking of perfect worlds, another game I wanted to talk about is reviews of Metal Gear Survive. Okay, now this is kind of interesting because honestly, there's a little bit of controversy with the reviews, and the reason why I get into that is because I know people who got review copies, and I know people who got review copies and put up their review like the day the game came out. Now, normally when you get review copies, you get the games a little bit ahead of time, so you have time to play it and time to enjoy it, and you can release it when the embargo's lifted. Well, the problem was the Metal Gear Survive had a patch, and the patch was to make the game run, and you couldn't download the patch until the game actually came out. So people with early access with the review copies kind of had a paper wait for like a week and a half. They couldn't play the game. So this is where you got to kind of ask yourself, be like, well, if this person put out this review an hour after the game officially released, and how exactly did they play the game, and how they played enough that they could give an actual review on it? Now, also, the Metal Gear Survive had an open beta, and some people played the beta, so there's been a lot of controversy and conspiracy that some people have just based it off the beta, and they just downloaded the updated patch later, and they were already not too happy with the game anyway, because this is a Metal Gear game that's put out post Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, I don't want to say this is the first Metal Gear that was put out that wasn't done by Hideo Kojima, excuse me, Hideo Kojima, because we had Metal Gear Rising with Platinum Games, and that was a really good game. Also, may I note, Metal Gear Snake's Revenge on the NES was also not made by Hideo Kojima. So, I mean, it's not weird that he doesn't make all the Metal Gear games, but this is the first one since he left the company. So, it's funny because I've known a lot of people that played it, and I know some people that actually do like it. I say it's not that bad of a game. Now, what are your thoughts about this, James? Because this is crazy.
It's more of the stuff I've heard about it has been the having to pay for extra save slots.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure even what type of game this is. I mean, with the title, it sounds like it's more so, mainly based on like survival and I guess eating. More like, do you have to buy food on it? It seems like I've heard a little bit more kind of negative things about it. I'm not really into Metal Gear. I haven't really played a Metal Gear since Nintendo, honestly. I mean, I've seen some of the newer ones, seen friends play them. Looks like a cool game, but it was just never one really for me. And it seems like, there is just more and more of this paying to play, all the stuff with like the buying loot boxes, to where you even get where the ESRB lately has kind of jumped on about wanting to put more warnings onto games. And I don't know if it's stemming for games, like Metal Gear, you have to buy more, or like I said, with the loot boxes. I mean, do you think games should have more of a warning? Like, I don't really know if it's geared towards like the parents that buy them, that you're going to have to, your kid is going to need your credit card or something and may run up a bill.
Which that has happened. That has happened. I remember a story a couple of years ago of this kid that like maxed out his dad's like $800 credit limit on FIFA or something like that, buying microtransactions. But I do think there should be a warning, just because not all the gamers are in the loop. Like, I think a lot of the problems is a lot of us that are really into the hobby, like our listeners of the show, us doing the podcast. I mean, we know about video games. We love video games, and we look at the news, we look at reviews, we watch videos, we make podcasts. But then there's also those gamers that just like playing video games, and some people may call them casual gamers. But I don't like to use casual gamer because that just sounds, it's been such a derogatory term with the gaming community. It's like, oh, it's a casual gamer. if you play video games, you're a gamer. It doesn't matter. But the truth of the matter is not everyone knows everything about it. So a good example would be my sister and her boyfriend recently got a PlayStation 4 Pro, and they got the Star Wars edition with Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, they didn't really care too much about Battlefront 2. They're like, oh, okay, cool, we're going to get this game. They bought it because it had Star Wars on the PlayStation 4 console. They're like, this is awesome. We love Star Wars. So they go into playing Battlefront 2 not knowing, hey, there's a bunch of microtransactions. Well, I know EA pulled those microtransactions, but let's just say hypothetically they keep those microtransactions in. They're going into it not realizing what they're getting themselves into. So I think warning signs would be good, and maybe it would deter other developers and other publishers and people in the industry being like, well, we got to kind of be more transparent with this, because, I mean, the gamers, the guys who go on Kotaku every morning before work are going to know about this, but the average Joe Schmo that's buying this console for their little Timmy because they made an A on a report card, they're going to know about it. So I think it is kind of important.
Yeah, I like that transparency, just of seeing things, extra you might have to spend. It's like when I got LA Noire on the Switch, the guy told me, he's like, hey, do you have, any external memory, because you're going to need it. Even with the size of games, sometimes it's good to know. I remember getting Diablo on the PS1. I rented it. And, I mean, granted, on the back of it, it says, takes up this many blocks of memories, but I probably didn't really look at that. And I got home and I couldn't play it because it took up a whole memory card. Just a little bit more warning. Sometimes even us, some of the more hardcore gamers, it's like you just maybe don't know the most about a game, and it's nice to know a little bit more. So it's kind of cool to see them getting into that. And then also, with as far as like ESRB and ratings on games, there's been talks of the government wanting to pass a tax on M-rated games. It's all kind of linked up to a lot of the shootings that we've had lately at the schools, which is always horrible. And people always look to blame something, whether it's the guns, which always turns into an argument on both sides. And then people want to blame things like entertainment. Lots of times games catches the brunt. I don't really know if movies catches it as much anymore. And I don't really know why. If they wanted to go to mental health as far as what the tax would go to. Like, if it went to that, I do think that's okay, but I don't understand why video games have to be the scapegoat on that. I think music can be very horrible too. And I'm not going to say games don't influence kids. Parents don't pay enough attention. A lot of parents are busy and working. Some kids can play violent video games, and that's fine. Some need a little bit more monitoring with it. Some of them, that's all they do. And sometimes it can kind of warp their brain. And, music too, though. You listen to music, and a lot of it is just, Molly Percocet, snorting Oxycontin. It's just people just rapping, and a lot of it, that is rap, just rapping about drugs. And lots of times, like, that can really influence kids too. Mm-hmm. There is a problem. I think it does need to be looked at. Lots of things need to be regulated a little bit more. If games were maybe a little bit tougher for kids to get. I know a lot of places check IDs. Lots of times the parents don't mind. I was raised where my mom would rather see me have me see somebody get like blown to bits than see like a tit or an ass cheek. That's the way a lot of kids are too, and that can really kind of affect you. Luckily, I had my head on a little straight, but it's just there's a problem all around with everything, and I don't really think taxing M-rated games is going to help in the long run.
No, it's not, because I mean, when I used to work at Babbage's, and when I worked there, I remember, kids would go in there and buy like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and of course there's actually a law, like you cannot sell an M-rated game to a minor. It's like the same felony as selling them a pack of cigarettes. Like, you can't do it. So the kid would come in there with Vice City, and I'm like, bring your parent or your guardian in, and I can't sell it to you by yourself. So, the parent would always come in. The parent would always be pissed off, because I was denying their kid their video game. So, of course, I would tell them what was in the video game. And, when I would go over, like, sex, violence, language, they didn't care. But when I mentioned, like, drug use, like, those parents would always be like, oh, no, no, no. I was like, that's so weird, It's like, I don't care if, little Timmy, going back to little Timmy sees, a gangbang or something like that, but, oh, man, he better not, see someone smoking dope or something. It was always so weird seeing the stopping point for certain parents, and I think that's the big issue. It's just, a great example would be, my nephew likes to watch Let's Plays. He watches Let's Plays all the time on YouTube, and he'll watch them before he goes to sleep. And, usually my sister puts it on YouTube on the television. He's watching it, and it's, showing stuff like Mario Party or Rayman or Donkey Kong. Well, one time I walked by, and they were playing Conker's Bad Fur Day. And I was like, oh, God, no, he can't watch this, because the thing about it is like, Conker looks like a perfectly harmless game until you actually watch the cutscenes and see what the game's about. But the problem was like, it was on a playlist. YouTube was just playing the movies over and over again, and they got the Conker's Bad Fur Day. So, that's the thing. I think a lot of parents just need to be a little bit more educated, open-minded, but at the same time more educated on what's going on, and just monitor your kids' behavior a little bit more. Stay off social media.
Sometimes the Let's Plays could be good for sometimes the parents to see more, to check into a game. Because a lot of games, there's some horrible stuff in there. I mean, I don't really mind. I'm an adult, and a lot of the stuff I would have liked to play as a kid. But, there is some strong things going on in a lot of games. But there's also a whole ton of games that are for everyone, that are amazing. So at least I would say, like, the market's not as flooded, and maybe more of the online games that a lot of the people do play, I think, are the ones that tend to be a bit more. And just that communication, the way people talk to each other on there. I know for some that's just game talk, but for some I could see that kind of helping that person to develop just into a more, just kind of harsh, angry person just from talking to other people like that. That can affect people too. I think that is some of the most harmful stuff, to kids, is just the way they and other people talk to them online. But yeah, there's really no answer to it all. It's just, I think everything needs to be looked at a little bit more, and it's more just kind of everybody kind of working together thing, which sounds all nice, and that'll never work. But, we can hope. I don't know. The tax still has to pass. I think it would be a 10%, which most games being $60, add on. It's going to raise the game up more and more. I wonder if it'll affect sales. And like I said, it's still got to pass. It's just something interesting to keep an eye on, because anytime, like I said, a tragedy happens, blame is looked to be put somewhere.
It's that Doom game, I'm telling you. It's freaking
Damn Doom.
But yeah, I mean, it when it all comes down to it, it's just like more awareness, and I mean, there's not going to be an easy fix for it all, because everyone's different, everyone's wired differently, and I think that's the main thing that people need to kind of take in consideration. A 6-year-old can play Mortal Kombat and be perfectly fine, and then another 6-year-old can play Mortal Kombat and try to do a finishing move on their younger sibling. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's fucked up, but it's true. But yeah, going off of that, one of our topics that we want to talk about through the majority of the show is yesterday was the year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch, and it's hard to believe this console is a year old. I mean, one part of me feels like, wow, it's been a year. The other part of me, I feel like this console's been out a lot longer, because we've had so many great games and so many accomplishments by Nintendo. I mean, let's face the fact that the Nintendo Switch has been out for a year, and it's already outsold Wii U's lifetime span sales. That's insane. So we're going to bounce to you, James, and I'm going to ask you, man, like, what's your overall thoughts of the Switch? Like, is it everything you imagined it to be, or is there more you want to it, or?
I mean, it really was. It's one of those systems, when it first came out, people were very skeptical about it. I mean, you couldn't help but be after the Wii U, which was a fun system, but that was never what I wanted it to be. As I saw more and more friends getting it, around when it came out, I really was hearing nothing but, good things. I like the aspect of it. What I wanted on the Wii U was just to be able to like leave the room. And with this one, I'm still kind of learning about the portable capability of it. I use it as a standalone system most of the time. But just the fact that mid-game, pick it up and it's going. You really can go anywhere. I mean, the screen has looked great. And when I came down to it, I'd worked a lot during the summer, a lot of overtime. I wanted to get myself something, and I had this idea in my head about getting the PlayStation VR. Like I've mentioned that before, and it's like I asked our friend Ryan Cadaver, because I know he had both, and he'd got a Switch too, and he was like, dude, he's like, get the Switch, man. He's like, VR's okay. He's like, but man, the Switch has just been great. I mean, along with so many good games, still the one thing a lot of people and me, I wouldn't mind some type of virtual console. I have many other means to play those games, of course, but it was something that was always just cool to have. And I know we'll be getting more of that with their online service. But in the meantime, I do think their Arcade Archive series is very cool.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm still waiting for Punch-Out. Man, that would have been a cool, like, year anniversary game. I would love to play Arcade Punch-Out. A lot of the arcade games on there, they're older ones. I think some will get better and better as they go along. But there is still a ton of stuff as far as the Neo Geo. But, man, it was a system. It just kind of took everybody by surprise. The fact that everybody did embrace it. And I think you had a lot that just, wanted it to fail, just kind of scoffed at it. And a lot of us always believe in Nintendo, and especially after that performance. 3DS has been around for so long, so successful. Wii U was, chalk it up as a straight failure, really. And for them, I think they had to come back with something awesome. And yeah, some of the games aren't as, graphically high as the Xbox or PS4, but sometimes that doesn't always matter. It's the fun of it all. And like I said, that portability, and they really came around with this one. And I mean, I'm still looking forward to where it's going to go. The first year to be so great. Lots of times first years, you get a few good ones and then it kind of slows down. But it just seems to be staying in high gear, man. And everybody's jumping onto it. Other companies, people want to put games on it. And we're just going to see more and more things. I mean, like I said, it was the year of Yakuza. I think it's going to be like the year of Nintendo again, too.
Yeah, what was funny was like, I remember when before it was the Nintendo Switch, when it was the Nintendo NX, and all the rumors that we would get, all the videos that we would get from all these different spectators, and Nintendo was being so tight-lipped about it. Like, I have to give Nintendo kudos for not letting anything out. I mean, there were kind of leaks of the Switch, and people that made certain predictions that ended up becoming true, but it was driving people insane for the first half of like 2017, or 2016. It was just driving people insane. People were like, I don't know what this is. I don't, I remember watching videos where like, is the new Nintendo Switch going to be a mobile phone? Is it going to be a cell phone? I mean, I remember hearing like all this outlandish stuff, and it was because people didn't know what it was. And then we had like this mock-up of like a controller that was like an all-touch screen controller that was like a football. It was weird, and you find out that it was just a mirror from a dashboard that someone manipulated. But yeah, I mean, it turned out to be what it is, the Switch, and it's a really good console. And I mean, it's funny to see how much that even people who didn't like Nintendo, like seriously didn't like Nintendo, have embraced it. I have a friend of mine who is not a big Nintendo fan of the recent years, but he says that the Nintendo Switch is like the best console since the SNES, and I kind of have to agree with that.
It's just, man, it has. When I started seeing the commercials for it too, that you kind of wondered how that would work. You see all the people hanging around together, playing it out in public, And I think it's a system that's really brought into the multiplayer aspect too.
Mm-hmm.
They try to have games that multiple people can play. I haven't really played it, set up with a bunch of people out in public, but I'm sure it works fine that way. I've just enjoyed mine to be able to just even around the house. You got to wonder, like, are they going to phase out the 3DS? But that's still going strong too, and I like the look of it. It's small. Some could knock on the memory, but all systems are going to need more memory. That's just kind of a given. And I mean, I was a big sucker for the red and blue Joy-Cons. That was the one I wanted. I was just so happy to have that one.
Yeah, I mean that would be. I think we can go into things that we hope that the Switch improves in the next couple of years. I think that would be a good topic. One of the things that I would like them to improve is the memory. And, of course you can get an SD card, put it in, no problem. And I'm pretty sure it'll come out with another version of the Switch that may have more memory to it, because it's only got 32 gigs. And, I mean, I have a 32 gig micro SD card in my Switch. And right now I have, I think I have 3 or 4 gigs left on the actual console, and then 9 gigs left on my micro SD card. And I have about 32 Switch games. And a lot of them are digital, and that's the reason why it's been, sucking up so much juice and memory. But that's one thing I'd like to fix. Another thing, of course, is the voice chat. I'm not a big online gamer, but I did do a review of Payday 2. I got a review copy for that. And that game really focuses a lot on voice chat. That's a very communicative type of first-person shooter. And the fact that even the Splatoon headset that it came out with, that you would hook up through your phone with an app onto your Nintendo Switch, completely backwards situation, wasn't compatible with Payday 2. So I couldn't even, if I would have had it, I wouldn't have been able to use it. So you would have to use things like Discord or Skype or maybe Facebook or something like that. I mean, thankfully there's other ways of doing it. I mean, back in the day, I remember, just being on the phone with my friends, talking on the phone and playing online games. So, I mean, that's one thing I would like to see them fix. But, I mean, other than that, though, I mean, the Switch it's awesome. I love it. Great console.
Yeah, friend codes are still, just too long.
Yeah.
They should do something with that. And I hadn't had any. I know you can get, screen protectors and everything, but anybody that had issues with, kind of like the dock scratching their system.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully any things like that, they'll figure out something. So that's something that you just kind of don't, just shouldn't happen. Yes, there's preventive measures, but you shouldn't have to do those.
I cannot stand the dock. That is probably the one thing that I cannot stand about the Switch is the dock. I think it's just cheaply made. It doesn't really ventilate the console too well. So, I mean, there's been instances of the console actually warping. I haven't had any problems with that. I mean, I game a lot in dock mode. I mean, matter of fact, Mario Rabbids, I played that for 15 hours in one day. I played it all day. And my console got pretty hot, but it didn't do anything too crazy. But I know, Rich from ViewTech, he got a Super Mario Odyssey bundle. He got a new Switch, came with the red Joy-Cons, came with Mario Odyssey, and that Switch warped. And that Switch was released, that was an October purchase, so that was a good couple of months after the Switch had came out. So it's still an issue that some people may have with their consoles later on down the line. So hopefully if they make a revision Switch with maybe a larger capacity of memory, maybe make a more open dock, maybe because they have third-party docks out there that kind of fix that situation.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get just a straight one from Nintendo they could put out, that would be on the newer systems, and anybody that wanted one could go get one. I do really love the controller aspect of it too. The fact that it's so versatile. If you play with the screen, that's, it's kind of big, but it's still pretty comfortable. The Pro Controller, of course, is the way to go. But hell, I really enjoyed putting the Joy-Cons on the little, the little holder that turned those into a little controller.
Oh yeah, the Joy Grip, yeah.
Yeah, before I got a Pro, I used that primarily, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I still, use it at times just because I like it. And like I said, I'm a sucker for like those colored Joy-Cons. I like how they have different versions. I can actually see myself getting maybe just like one other set. I'm not going to go crazy and get like every one, but it's cool to see the neat ones out there when they have different bundles. They come with different colors. That's just a little something that a lot of people don't care about, but to me, it's just like a little extra touch that makes it like really cool.
Yeah, I still want to get the yellow Joy-Cons. Like, I'm a big fan of yellow, and that's still something I kind of want to get eventually, because I got the normal gray ones. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways to play the Switch. Like, I know recently they did an update on the 8-bit Do or 8-bit Do controllers. You can use those. I mean, you can use that as your Pro controller if you don't want to use... Because I know a lot of people, like, they don't want to spend the money on a Switch
it's
Pro
expensive.
controller. Well, I mean, the funny thing is the Pro controller, in my opinion, isn't that much more expensive, considering like a brand new PlayStation 4 controller is like $60 and the Pro controller for the Switch is like $70.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying for I think really like, because you can get a lot of the wired ones for really reasonable. They have cool designs, but I think it's the fact that it has that amiibo support in there, because you can get was there a Hori wireless one?
Yeah, Hori.
There's some other wireless ones too, but it's that amiibo support in there. I think that adds on a bit to the cost. But you're right. I mean, it is a great controller, and I mean, it's not really that much more, but that's still, I can see why some wouldn't want to pay that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much got it because I was like, I'm getting Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers on the Switch. I was like, I gotta have a good D-pad. Like, I couldn't imagine playing Street Fighter with the Joy-Con grip. So I couldn't do it. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and got a Pro controller. And it's a really good controller, man. It feels great. It feels very similar to like the Xbox One with its button placement. It just has like a really nice D-pad to it. It's really nice. I like it. It's been my go-to. Like, I tell people, once you go to the freaking Pro controller, you just don't want to go back. It's just
it definitely stepped up over the because I liked the Wii U Pro, but I didn't like where the other thumbstick was placed.
Oh yeah.
That was the only bad part of that. So they definitely stepped up, and it's more along the lines of, like Xbox, who's always had great ones. But I actually did play Street Fighter with the Joy Grip.
Oh man,
It wasn't that bad.
I tried to play Street Fighter handheld mode with the of course the Joy-Cons. And I couldn't get into it. Like, a matter of fact, I remember when I bought Street Fighter 2 for the Switch, I bought it at GameStop. And I remember I went to the mall to pick it up, and I went to the food court, and around that time, there was like a field trip, and there were like all these kids in the food court, and I had my Switch in like kickstand mode, and I was like playing it with the Pro controller, and they were all looking at me like, "Oh man, this guy's got the fucking Switch." I was like, "Yeah, that's right, kids."
It's like a commercial.
Like, do your homework, But but that's how I would play Street Fighter. I would just play it in kickstand mode, and that is one other thing I would say about the Switch that I don't like is the kickstand, because the kickstand is very flimsy, and I would feel like if someone like hit the table the right way, your Switch would just like break off the kickstand and like fall on its face and scratch up the screen and stuff. But I didn't really like the kickstand too much. And plus, in kickstand mode, you can't charge the Switch either, which is kind of lame. I hate that they did that. Of course, there's third-party fixes to that, but still, it's like, come on, Nintendo.
But overall, man, it's just been a really great first year, and I didn't get one right away, but I still felt like I got it. It's one of the first times I've got a system in the first year. I've really been nothing but happy with it. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is I'm usually off Thursday, and that's when they update the eShop. So that's like a ritual for me, is to go on there, and I usually buy something every week. Some of the games have been out on other systems for a little while, but a lot of them are still ones I hadn't played. And since the Switch is my like primary console right now, it's just good to pick up a lot of these. I don't double buy many other ones I had on other systems, but it's such a variety like I said, if you like old arcade games, is it Psycho? The one guys who did like Gunbark and Gunbird. They have a series if you're into like shooters, really great old arcade games on there. All kinds of independent games, and usually, if they're ones that had updates, you'll get, the full version if they've been out for a little bit. Just a load of stuff, man. I've always talked about Wolverblade a lot, which is one that is a Switch exclusive if you like Golden Axe and those type of games. There's so much on there. It's definitely not been a system when people are like, it doesn't have games. I mean, I've got too many games, too many right now.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing about my Switch story was kind of funny because, I mean, I would probably just be now getting a Nintendo Switch, but my friend Amanda actually sent me a Nintendo Switch like back in April, so I got the Switch like a month after the console had been released, and I wasn't planning on it. I was like, I'm going to wait to get the Switch, I was like, I'll get it eventually. I'll probably get it during my tax returns, which, I mean, if that didn't happen, we would probably be doing the episode now being like, oh, the Switch is a year old, and I just got a Switch. How do I like it so far? That's what would be the episode, because I would have just saved my money, but I got it, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to get some games, and, I mean, thankfully I've been very lucky to get a lot of review copies. I've been working with a lot of companies and getting review copies of games and playing some of those, and like I said, I mean, I got like 11 physical Switch games, and then the rest of it's all digital, and I got like 32 games in total. So I'm actually working on a video doing a showcase of my Switch collection. Like, I'm actually going to be going through most of my games, like showing screenshots and gameplay and talking about, because I get a lot of people that message me on Facebook. They're like, hey, I got a Nintendo Switch. What are some games that I should play? And I'm like, do you not realize I have a YouTube channel? It's like, can you watch my YouTube channel? Can you watch some of my reviews? That really helped me out, So I always feel like an asshole, but I link them to my YouTube channel. I'm like, here, watch my YouTube channel. It's like, come on, guys. So I want to make a video, because I'll be like, this will be like the video that I show them when they're like, hey, I just got a Nintendo Switch. What are some good games? Boom, watch this nice little video of like all my games that I have so far at this time. So I came into the surprise of $30. I was looking on the eShop before the show, and I was looking at a couple games to get, because I missed this Thursday since I was at work, and I was like, man, I had like $30 on my eShop, so I managed to pick up a couple ones. It's just, man, it's a habit. I think I've got about 70 games total. Holy shit.
Yeah, and a ton of them are digital. I mean, the physical's probably like, I don't know, I gotta count them. It might be like no more than 15, but it might be somewhere around there. And the digital is just like some of I just played Fast RMX. I've had it for a while, and like I said, I've just got too many games because I see cool ones. I try to put them on the wish list and go back to them, but I just enjoy, instead of going to the store, maybe buying a full price new game, I'll drop $50 on like the eShop and end up getting 3 or 4 games,
Well, one of the things too is like you've always been a really big handheld gamer. Like you like playing handheld games. Like you love the Game Boy, and I remember I sold you my Neo Geo Pocket.
Yeah.
You like that stuff. So I mean, this has been a really big treat for you, because when you want to play handheld, you can, because that's what you enjoy, and but at the same time, if you want to play on your television, that's cool too. And that's what I kind of explained to some people when the games are re-released for the Switch that are a little bit more expensive. I'm like, I'm paying a little bit extra for the handheld feature, in my opinion. Like sometimes I will buy a game exclusively on the Switch instead of the PS4, because like say it's a JRPG, and I'm like, yo, I can play this anywhere. I don't have to worry about going home and playing this, like Ys 8, I cannot wait to play that on the Switch. I can get on the PS4 right now if I wanted to, but I want to get on the Switch because, if I'm working and it's a slow day at work, I can whip out my Switch and play some Ys, So, I mean, I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's a adult's JRPG's dream to have the Switch.
Yeah, I think about that too when I see games, because it's just that extra. It's like, oh man, like this would be a fun one just to play. downstairs, or you think about that more with the titles, and you think for a lot of the smaller games on the eShop, it's like, yeah, but then you'll end up with games like Doom that is just a full-fledged game that you can take and go on the go too.
Yeah, or even Skyrim. I mean, who would have thought back in like 2011, when Skyrim first came out, that you would like tell that person, like, yeah, that game you're playing on 360 that you're completely amazed by? Yeah, well, a couple of years, about 7 years, you'll be able to play that on the go anywhere. Like, oh no, get out of here. That's insane. That's crazy talk.
I mean, I've considered trying that one again, but then lately too, I heard, I saw on RGT's channel that Blizzard had put out a little thing with like the Diablo demon on a light switch. So I guess there's a good chance like Diablo 3 could be coming to the Switch.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
That's one I keep trying to get into, but I think if it comes on the Switch, this will be the third time I will have bought that game, and I'm gonna fucking play it this time. But that seems like that would be a really fun one, to have in a handheld. It really it adds a whole new aspect to a lot of these games. The fact that you can just go anywhere. I know, like Ryan, he plays his in the car when he goes on trips. Like his girl, she likes to drive, so he can just sit there and play a Switch.
Yeah, and he's in a band, so he when he goes on tour, he just bought a game, and they're like, oh, Casket Creatures, we're about to go on a little tour. He can't be like, well, I'll just leave this game at the house. I'll come back and play it when I'm done playing shows. But boom, no, you can bring it with you because, long trips, road trips, it's nice to have the Switch,
Yeah, and I think they will get a big boost again, too. The fact that it is an affordable system. Granted, a lot of the system's prices have dropped, but the fact that it launched, at what I think is a really reasonable price. I think you're going to see a lot of sales come out again with the tax time.
Mm-hmm.
Just more and more games. We see games, like Doom. You understand like this is a real system. People always get and Nintendo's just like for kids, and they think they're not going to get. They mainly mean they're not going to get like their high-powered games on there, and like some still might have their limitations, but we'll actually see what can run on there. I think we're just going to see more and more like amazing stuff. It's going to be surprising, because when Doom came out, it's like, wow, like that's on the Switch, but that's not going to be as odd to see. Pretty soon it'll just be like, oh yeah, that's on the Switch.
Yeah,
we'll just get used to it. It is a real system, and it's got real handheld aspect to it. It's like a really good complete package.
It really is. Now, before we close the show, because we're running close on time, let's get into games we've been playing recently, because we've been talking about a lot of Switch. Now, James, have you been playing a lot of Switch lately?
I've been trying to play a lot of Switch lately. We've been having this count at work to where they count everything I do and time everything, and it determines my pay. I'm at work like really late, and then I come home and usually like I just eat and try to watch some wrestling, hang out with my wife a bit. So I haven't got to play as much, but soon I will be able to get back on it. But I did play some before the show. I was playing some of the Pac-Man Championship Edition.
Oh, that's such a good game.
Yeah, I had it on did I have it on PS3? I think so. But it'd been a while since I played it. Loved it. I got it the other week and just managed to play it. And as I said earlier, I finally played Fast RMX, which has been out for a while, and I always heard it was a good alternative to Mario Kart, but another just really fun racing game. And started playing that, played a couple tracks, and that was really fun. It had a blast with that one. And then I did just get, like I said, I had Mercenary Kings. Also a game that was out on the PS4. But, if you're into Metal Slug, it's a awesome game. Very comical. Lots of, like, blood. You got, cool sub-weapons. You got missions to go on. Yeah, dude, if you like Metal Slug, you got to check it out.
I'll have to check that out because I'm a big Metal Slug fan.
I think it's even got, like, online co-op, I think. But just, if you're into Metal Slug, you got to play Mercenary Kings. And I just picked up a couple other. Picked up Detention, which looks like some kind of Japanese horror type game, and what else did I get? Can't remember. I did. I'll talk about those next show. But lots of times I'm buying more games than I'm playing at times. So, I'll never run out, and I'll always have something to do. So.
Well, I mean, myself, PlayStation 4 wise, I was playing a little bit of Secret of Mana. I need to play more of it. I need to actually finish it. I got a good chunk of it done.
Oh yeah, is that the remake one?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I really liked it. I did a review of it, like a first impressions kind of thing, and I enjoy it. Some of the problems that I had with it, like I knew I had some bugs to it, like when I would play the game and I would go to my menu, like the PlayStation Home menu, and I'd go back, like the music would be gone, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to the music? And that was a bug that ended up getting fixed, so that's good. And so I played a little bit of that. Also, I bought a couple Switch games. For one, I bought Wonder Boy, the Monster's Trap, or the Dragon's Trap, for the Switch. I had it on PlayStation 4, played it, beat it, loved it. Ended up selling it because I had a limited run copy and I needed the money. So I ended up buying another physical copy from the Kylus for the Switch, so I had that again. Also, I rebought Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because let me tell you, I played Breath of the Wild and beat it. I had like 200 hours into it, but I played it and beat it on the Wii U. I never played it on the Switch, and what had happened was when I got the Switch and I had already beaten Zelda, I was like, you know what, I want more Switch games, so I went ahead and sold that for the Wii U, and I was like, if I ever want to go back to it, I'm going to get it on the Switch. So I ended up finding a used copy for like $40, bought that. Haven't played it, but I got it in the collection. And also bought Bayonetta 2. And I loved Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U. I remember when that game came out like 3 years ago, I remember telling people, like, man, this game's amazing. And then, of course, they didn't have a Wii U, so they're just kind of like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. Now these people had the Switch, and they have Bayonetta 2, and they're messaging me, be like, oh my god, this game's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I told you like 3 years ago, it was amazing. But I haven't actually played Bayonetta 2. I actually been playing Bayonetta 1, because I haven't played that in a long time. I never beat it. So I've been playing that on the Switch, and to be honest, the game's aged so well that it does not feel like I'm playing like a 7th gen game. It doesn't feel like I'm playing something that was on the 360 or PS3. It feels like a brand new game. So that's what I've been playing. I've been playing, Bayonetta, Secret of Mana, and that's about it so far.
Yeah, that's another thing too, though, as far as with the Switch. On the last note, the Nicholas games or Nicholas or whoever there, you got to check them out. Like you said, they did the Dragon's Trap. They've put out Tiny Barbarian, Cave Story. Some of these games have been out for a bit, but if you like physical copies, they always throw in extras like little bags. Sometimes they'll have soundtracks.
Oh yeah.
They all and they're still just like usually cheaper. They're usually around like $30. Mm-hmm. I know some versions of that Wonder Boy had a soundtrack. I don't know if that was like a pre-order one or but they're always putting in extras, so they just for those that like to collect those, really cool company. I like to support and buy their stuff.
Great packaging, definitely. But yeah, guys, this is going to conclude another episode of Xsgaming Podcast. And yeah, if you guys are listening to us on iTunes, be sure to rate the show. It really helps new listeners find the show. Same thing with Podomatic. Be sure to leave a comment. Let people know about, hey, listen to our show. And also check out my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Skullion. And recently I did a Let's Play of Kirby's Star Allies demo from the European eShop, which I have to say real quick, it's nice that the Switch is region free, because I went ahead and made a European account and made a Japanese account. So now I can download demos that are not exclusive to the U.S. region. So that's pretty awesome. That's another great thing to say about the Switch on our episode. But played that, had a lot of fun, went ahead and pre-ordered Kirby because I really liked it. And I'm like, okay, I got to get this game. So I'll be talking about that probably in the next show. But yeah, be sure to check us out. And Anything else you want to add in real quick, James, before we close the show?
Nah, I would just say if you're on the fence about getting a Switch, maybe we swayed you a little bit, at least gave you some advice on it, and I'd say go get one because it's awesome.
Indeed, guys. As always, thanks for listening, and as always, happy gaming.
Have a pleasant evening, everyone.